Welcome to the second part of the direct rail services story, as told through the medium of N-gauge models. We start at the depot again to get an overview of the type of traction that developed over this part of the story. And remember, I do use a little bit of creative license because not all models are available in N-gauge. This part of the story begins in 2009, where towards the end of the year, the county of Cumbria had been devastated by enormous floods. Bridges in the town of Workington had been swept away, so it was impossible to get from one side of the town to the other. The Department of Transport decided to provide a free local hauled shuttle service. Network Rail quickly built a temporary station, and DRS were contracted to provide locomotives and stock. This Class 57 has collected a BSO from West Coast Railways in Carnforth and is taking it north to Kingmore to prepare for the service. Then, along with 37229, together they take a short rake to Workington to begin the hourly shuttle service. It wasn't long before they decided to remove Class 37s from these services because it attracted far too many enthusiasts who wanted 37 haulage. So most of the time DRS provided Class 47s or Class 57s. In 2010, DRS provided locomotives for a short-lived flow of imported wood pulp. Eddie is taking a rake of IZA twins from Sheerness Docks to Blackburn, and this is the 6Z82. Container traffic continued to grow, and 66413 is hauling the 4M48 from Moss End to Daventry. The demand for locomotives grew so much that in 2011, when the company Fast Line collapsed, DRS originally agreed to store their locomotives, but very quickly DRS decided to take them on as locomotives into their own stock, and very soon we actually saw them out in use. So DRS actually put these Fast Line locomotives quickly back into service in their original livery. 66305 is in charge of the 4S82 travelling from Daventry to Coatbridge. In 2011, 66434 was the third and final locomotive to have a special livery celebrating the contract with Malcolm Logistics. DRS lost the contract just 9 months later when it was taken over by DB Schenker. And this is the 4M71 from Purfleet to Daventry. Then in 2012, DRS took over the Thunderbird duties from DB Schenker, and they inherited 6 Class 57-3s. 3 of these locomotives are on their way to Carlisle Kingmore for assessment, and then they will be painted into the new DRS livery. They were soon seen out and about, undertaking a variety of work in their new livery. This was an additional service for Virgin, the 1Z16, from Euston to Birmingham International, which has been diverted via the Chiltern line due to engineering works. The 573s were also regular performers on the nuclear flask trains, and here, sharing with the Class 66, there's a short rake returning from Sellafield to Dungeness. From 2013, DRS were contracted to provide a summer loco hauled service in East Anglia. 37409 and 37229 are powering an ECS working the 1Z14 from Carlisle to Norwich to prepare for this daily service. Into 2014, and DRS acquired 6 more Class 573s, this time from Network Rail. They were quickly put to work, still in their original livery, and this is the 6Z96, which is a mixture of old ballast wagons on an infrastructure working from Crewe Ashpeth Hall to Towton. They did, of course, gradually get repainted, and then 57305 was allocated to Northern Bell duties, and so it was repainted into this matching Pullman livery. We see it on the 5Z52, which is an ECS working from Crewe to York to prepare for a special outing. Towards the end of 2014, DRS wanted to re-establish its green credentials using the Tesco Express, and so for a period of 16 months it hired in Class 92s from DB Schenker. 92036 is piloting the 4S43 from Daventry to Moss End. And a few months later we see 92009 travelling in the opposite direction with the 4M48 Moss End to Daventry. 2014 also saw the introduction of a brand new class of locomotives. These were the Class 68s, and here we see a pair of them on the FNA flasks, the 6Z53, travelling from Crewe coal sidings to Sellafield. DRS also had a contract to have Class 37s on standby for snowplough duties in the winter months, particularly in Scotland. And this pair of 37s are taking a pair of snowploughs from Carlisle to Derby to be serviced before the winter season. In 2016 and 2017, DRS started to repaint some of the Class 66s into a new livery. Was this going to be a dramatic livery as the old Compass livery? Well, no. This one was called the Economy livery. This pair of Class 66s in the revised livery have responsibility for these large KUA nuclear flasks along with the SAS security detail. This is the 6Z53 from Crewe coal sidings to Sellafield. And another Class 66 in the revised livery is seen piloting the 4M46 from Purfleet to Daventry. The later delivery of Class 68s also received this economy livery, as we can see on this network rail track monitoring train, which is the 1Q27 from Derby RTC to Tyne Yard. It gives us a chance to do a direct comparison of the two liveries. Another livery for the Class 68 was the Scots Rails Saltaire livery. This was to mark a new contract for DRS to run the Fife Circular service in Scotland. 68007 is taking a small rake of coaches from Carlisle to Crewe, and these are to be prepared for the new service. Yet another livery celebrated the fact that Class 68s were going to be used on passenger services with Chiltern Railways. However, it was not unusual to see a silver grey example on freight work before the full passenger service was introduced. 68010 is in charge of a rake of IOAs forming the 6U77 from Mount Sorrel to Carlisle. DRS are to be applauded for another initiative which saw a number of Class 37s repainted into the beautiful BR large logo blue livery. Sorry if I seem to be a little bit biased, but I do like this livery. 37558 is taking a couple of spare coaches down to Norfolk, and this is the 1Z20 from Carlisle to Norwich. These large Logo 37s were often used on excursions, and here we have a pair on a Statesman special, which is the 1Z36 travelling from Carlisle to Inverness. Towards the end of 2018, some of the Class 68s were prepared for their career with Transpennine Express. Before the service was introduced, it was not unknown for a spare TPE Class 68 to be purloined for infrastructure work. This example is the 6G94, where 68019 is taking a rake of auto ballasters to Bescott. Well, we've come to the end of part 2 of the story, and once again I'd like to acknowledge how useful I have found the bookazine on direct rail services published by Key Publishing with Simon Bendall as the editor. I may compile a third part to this story sometime in the future, but I'm afraid at the moment that's going to have to wait for more N-gauge models to be made available. So, bye for now.